Hi, and welcome to this week's video blog on Some Assembly Required. I'm Sarah Hammerkert, and I'm glad you joined me. Today I want to talk about boredom and kids because we just had a snow day here in Northern Virginia this week, unexpectedly, totally unexpectedly. And I know that many parents, when their children are unexpectedly out of school, or even when they're expectedly out of school for things like the Thanksgiving holiday and Christmas break and our winter break or summer vacation, they're often left with this angst about how am I going to entertain my kids? What am I going to do with them? How are they not going to be whining all day, or on the flip side, be on devices all day because we can't seem to figure out this entertainment thing? Well, I have a solution for you, but before I offer my tried and true solution, let's talk a little bit about whether or not parents should entertain their children. The answer is no. I am not my child's playmate. I know that's going to be shocking to many of you because you feel like that is part of your job description as a mom or a dad, that you need to play with your kids. That is not the case. Our job as parents are to love our children, to enjoy our children, and to help our children grow up to be independent, functioning adults. I mean, that's really what we have to do. And as Christian parents, we also want to make sure that we have a care for their spiritual growth, that they know and love God. Nothing in that calling as a parent says that we are to entertain our children. And now, that doesn't mean that we can't play games with your kids, that you can't read to your children. That is different from playing with your children, entertaining your children, being your children's source of the antidote to boredom. You see the difference? My boys and I are in the middle of a rummy game where we try to play several hands every week and keep a running tally. That's okay, but I'm not responsible. Listen closely. I am not responsible as their mother for making sure that my children are not bored and that they have something to do. That is not my responsibility, and that is what I'm talking about. That is what parents, moms especially today, are taking on ourselves. We are stressing ourselves out because we feel that it is our responsibility, that we have to keep our children entertained and not bored. It's not the case. Boredom will not kill your child. It won't. And boredom is really good for your kid. It develops all sorts of good things. It helps them learn to be content where they are. It helps them figure out things about life, things about themselves. When kids don't really have time to sit and think without being distracted by electronics or a mom or dad who's constantly, or playmates. I know some parents schedule so many play dates for their kids so that they always have something to do, somewhere to go. That in itself, play dates are not bad. But again, you are becoming your child's cruise director, making sure that they have something to do all the time. Tons of activities in the summer are the same way. Now, I'm not talking about those working parents who cannot leave 5 and 7-year-old home alone in the summer. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a general sense that we are responsible for keeping our children entertained. We are not. Okay, so now that you're agreeing with me, right? Because it's exhausting, isn't it, to try to keep our children entertained. So let's take a big step back and go, repeat after me. I am not responsible for keeping my child or my children entertained. Repeat as often as necessary. Now, my solution is very simple. You give that responsibility to the child. Now, I realize that if you've been your children's cruise director, in other words, you have planned them, they come to you whenever they feel an inkling, even a smidgen of boredom. They're like, Mommy, Mommy, I'm bored, I have nothing to do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whine, 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 whine. And you've responded with trying to find things for them to do and spending all this time, doing things with them constantly, then they're gonna whine. So here's my tried and true, never fails solution: the chore jar. The special I'm bored jar is what we called it. You put in all those little pieces of paper of the things that you never get around to in your house. Dusting the baseboards, wiping down the door jambs. Oh, come on. Your house is like mine. Those door jambs are nasty, and I would love for someone to be bored so they can do that job. Other little things like that. Weeding, shoveling, snow if you have it, organizing the games. This was one of my favorites because those games got all kind of crazy. You know, making sure all the DVDs are in their right cases. There's a million little things that you can add to that chore list, that chore jar. Then when your child says they're bored, you say, I am so glad you asked. And you reach in that and you pull out one of those pieces of paper and you say, you are going to dust the baseboards. Here's the rag. Here's the spray. Have at it. Let me know when you're done. And they're of course, going to melt on the floor. They're probably going to throw a temper tantrum or something because they're not used to mom not entertaining them. Let me tell you, you do that a few times, and if the kid starts to say, and you're like reaching for the chore jar, they're suddenly going to figure out something to do. Now, electronics, because that is such an easy fallback. Okay, I get it. It's an easy way for kids to be quiet and entertained, but we're not doing them any favors when we allow them for every snow day or unexpected day off for them to be on their electronics. So, if you haven't watched my other digital devices videos, here is my easy solution for that. You tell your kids they can be on from 2 to 4 or however long you want them to be on. Instead of saying they can be on for 2 hours, never do that because then you'll have to be the time police. You give them a set time that they can be on their devices, and then you make sure that those devices are within your sight so they don't sneak, because kids are kids and they'll try to do that. That's what you do. And then they act like they're bored. You grab that chore jar and you say, let's see what other chore you can do for me today. And if you're still running out of ideas, because I know sometimes kids, and especially if you're doing this retraining, you've been entertaining them, they run out of ideas. Hop over to my website, sarahhammerker.com, and sign up for my free newsletter. This week and next week, just for the rest of November, I am giving away for free, for everyone who signs up, my Boredom Busters book. This book has dozens of ideas that does not involve mom and dad for kids to do. So sign up to get your free copy of that, and it's a PDF, you can just download it, you can print off pages and hand them to your kids and go, hey, here's what you can do. Here's some indoor games, here's some outdoor games, here's some games, silly games. Ideas, not just games, but ideas, really innovative ideas for things for kids to do. So I hope this has been helpful for you, and I hope that you never again see an unexpected day off or Saturday or the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday and think, oh no, I have to entertain my kids. You don't. They can. And with that chore jar and a little more backbone on you, you can make those days off days of exploration and excitement, and your kids will figure it out. I hope you join me next week for another video blog on Some Assembly Required. You have a great day.